Hey, what's up guys? Coach AY here, and I want to talk about functional movement assessment for the overhead deep squat. Now, similar to the deep squat, this movement is going to analyze flexibility and stability in the ankle, the knee, and the hip while holding an object overhead. Now you see I have a PVC pipe. You don't necessarily need a PVC pipe, but you need an object that you can hold overhead. So what we're going to do first is get into our stance with our feet shoulder width apart. Our shoulders are the columns. I want my heels in alignment with my shoulders. My toes are slightly pushed outward, maybe somewhere in between 25 to 35 degrees pushed outward. We're going to hold the object overhead. Now, the first thing that the tendency for athletes is to cave the chest in because I have an object over my head. Don't want to cave the chest in. I want to push my hips forward so I'm standing nice and tall. And I want to be nice and proud with my chest. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. The object should be directly over my head and not in front of me, even though it's above my head. I want to make sure that object is pushed back here. So sideways, the tendency is to come here and cave my chest in. I want to get my chest nice and proud, push my hips forward. The other tendency is to have an arc in the lower back. So I'm standing like so. I want to push my hips forward, make sure I'm standing nice and tall, and my chest is proud. From there, we're still going to get our hips into a hinged position as we prepare for the squat. So a hinged position. Now that I've started from neutral to a hinged position, now I can drop into my squat and back up. Now here are some of the coaching points that we want to make sure that we're looking for in order to grade this exercise. First item is we're looking at the ankle and the knee from a straight on position, and we're making sure that the ankles and knees are not rotating inward. Okay? We also don't want them to over-rotate outward, but we want to make sure the athlete is pushing the knees slightly outward to align the knee and the toe in that 25-35 degree outward position. So if I'm here, I want to make sure the athlete is not coming down and rotating in that way. I want to make sure they're still sitting back and dropping into a squat as deep as they can get. Okay? Now, with the object overhead, the tendency is to bring the chest forward. So the next thing that we're going to look at is to see when is it that point where the athlete starts to really bend forward. So what you'll notice is a lot of times as they start to descend into their squat, the chest is really going to push forward. You need to figure out where is that point. Is it at a fairly deep position in the squat? Is it very early on in the squat? If they have good flexibility in their hips, their knees and their ankles, they'll be able to get into a deeper squat without really coming forward here. Okay, so those are the things we want to look at. Again, just like the deep squat, we want the back to be in a straight line from the back of the neck to the lower part of the waist or the tailbone. Don't want the curve, don't want the over curve and hunching over effect. So take that. Again, you're going to analyze this and grade it from a 0 to 3 scale. The most flaws, you have a 0. No flaws, your grade is 3. Take your time, go through this exercise. We'll see you on the next one.